Hello and welcome once again to the video. In this one, I thought I would take a very short and brief look at the shakedown test, the Barcelona Shakedown test for the upcoming 2026 Formula One World Championship. It's only going to be a quick video, this one. Partly because I'm recording it extremely late. Actually, I'm recording it early. What's the time at the moment? It's gone 1 o'clock in the morning. But this is the only window that I had available to record a little video. Between the shakedown test finishing and me getting home from work and then being able to release it before, the following day on the Saturday. So this was a very short window for me to be able to record my thoughts on the shakedown test. Formula One 2026. The shakedown test. Now, as I'm sure many of you will know, we didn't actually get to see much of the test. It was very much a behind closed doors test. I remember the 2014 one being very similar. That wasn't a shakedown though. I think that was the actual pre-season testing. None of it was shown live. We only got little clips of cars. But I do remember the media being trackside in 2014. But we weren't able to see much of the actual cars going around because that was the start of a big new, it was the start of the hybrid engine formula regulations. And these teams they don't want to be embarrassed in public, basically. So they don't like to have the media all over them when they're driving these cars, when their cars are running for the first time, basically. Well, not for the first time. They have run. Well, Ferrari did Fiorano, didn't they? And their circuit, one of their circuits, and I think another team used that circuit as well, only about a week or so ago. I'm not sure if all the teams have been able to run the cars on a track before this, what is called a shakedown. But anyway, this was the first proper time out on track. Now, it seems like only a few weeks have gone by since the season finished, but of course we must remember the season hasn't properly started yet. This was a very early shakedown test, much earlier than usual, because of the new regulations, basically. The cars are now 50% powered by electric batteries. 50%. They're turning more and more into Formula E, which is a little bit worrying. But let's just hope they don't go any further. 50%, that should be the tops. I think it was 20% electrical power last year, and 50% this year. That's a lot. Anyway, the takeaways from the shakedown test. Firstly, they didn't have the same sort of unreliability that they did in 2014. I remember in 2014, Mercedes, for instance, topped out with number of laps, 500 laps. And Ferrari was second, actually, with 442. Followed closely by Red Bull on 437. Red Bull would have undoubtedly had more, though, had Hadjar not had an accident. I didn't see the accident. Maybe no one saw it. Maybe it wasn't captured. There's a good chance it wasn't. But anyway, Hadjar had a little accident. So otherwise, Red Bull would have probably done more laps. But 500 laps, Mercedes topped out. But they were not the quickest car over the 5 days. The quickest was Lewis Hamilton. He was quickest on a 1 minute 16.3, I think he did. One minute 16.03, something like that, 0.3, something like that. I'll put that down. Now, of course, we are, as ever, we're told that the times are not important. And yes, with a shakedown test, the most important thing is the number of laps. What tyres did Hamilton have? The rumour, and we can only go by rumour because the media were not in the circuit, basically. So the rumour is that Hamilton had much softer tyres than Russell had, basically. C3s instead of C1s. Because Russell was second quickest, about 2 tenths behind. And then came Norris in the McLaren. So it was a British 1-2-3 going by the times. Now, of course, Hamilton's lap and I think Norris's fast lap, were set on the final day when the conditions would have been at their best because it was the last day of all the running. So, but what we can take from it, I think it's good for Hamilton to be out front and in front of Leclerc, because I just can't help but think that Hamilton is a spent force. I think he's done in Formula One. I thought that a couple of years ago, 2024, was such a terrible year that I thought that's it. He's done for. And then last year, trailing Leclerc all season long. In much the same way that teammates of Hamilton used to always trail half a second behind him. Kovalainen, Bottas, even Rosberg, it has to be said, was consistently slower than Hamilton, despite winning the championship in 2016. And now, unfortunately, it's role reversal. Last year, and to a certain extent 2024, Hamilton's just that little bit slower than his teammate all the time, consistently. So I think it was good for his confidence to... I'm probably insulting him there. He doesn't need his confidence boosted by being quicker than Leclerc in the shakedown. But I still think it's more positive than negative, basically, for Hamilton. Another standout performance was, of course, Red Bull with their new Ford engines. Red Bull, Ford. Oh dear. You'll have to forgive me there. With their Red Bull, with their Ford engines, with their Red Bull Ford engines. They're sort of in partnership with Ford, aren't they? It's not a total Red Bull sole project. is it? They are in partnership with Ford. I don't know to what extent it's a Red Bull engine and to what extent it's a Ford engine. But anyway, fantastic performance for Red Bull to put in 437 laps and quick times as well. Very good. So that was definitely a standout performance. I love the look of the cars as well. The noses, beautiful. The nose is the best looking thing about these new cars, I think. New cars. The way the nose dips down, probably in an attempt to shorten the length of the car, because the dimensions are supposed to be smaller in all directions, aren't they? This year with the new regulations. But the noses are very reminiscent, I think, of 1991. The Williams of 1991, the so-called porpoise nose on the Williams in 1991. The Ferrari 641 of 1991, which was my favourite looking F1 car of all time. The Ferrari driven by Alain Prost and Jean Alesi in 1991. The 641, the Ferrari 641, that beautiful nose. And these cars all seem to have that gorgeous nose at the front. Of course, the front wings are, of course, a lot bigger than they were in 1991, but they're still not too bad. I don't think they stick out too much. I'm not going to mention the rules like active aero, recharge, boost, and overtake mode, because I mentioned those in a previous video. I went all over all of those. This is just purely my thoughts about this shakedown test. Now, the cars do look lovely at the front. At the back, the shark fin has made a bit of a recovery, but it's not too bad. It's not as bad as the huge, great advertising billboard that the McLaren and Red Bull, well, and other cars as well, virtually all of them, had in 2010. Those horrific vertical advertising boards, basically, at the back of the car. Oh, terrible. It's not as bad as that. These are, at least, they do curve down a bit. They are stepped. Well, the Ferrari one is actually stepped. If you look at it, it's jagged, the shark fin. So they're not too bad. I would prefer them not to be there at all. That would really make the cars look great. But I can handle a little bit of shark fin. The white on the Ferrari, I don't know whether or not to say that there's some white on the red Ferrari or there's some red on the white Ferrari. There's so much white now, which I assume is to do with that main sponsor, that main, it's not a title sponsor, is it? But the main sponsor that they've got there. I don't know why they need so much white. But I prefer it to the yellow from a couple of years ago, anyway. Even though yellow is actually a Ferrari colour and white isn't. I still think red and white looks better than red and yellow. But I would rather it be completely red, like the 2022 Ferrari, which looked fantastic. Another thing I'd say about the look of the cars, they're a bit like F2 cars. I think, a little bit. They look nice, but because they're smaller in size, they just automatically look a little bit F2-ish, I think. But that's a minor thing. That's not going to stop me enjoying it at all. So all in all, a very positive shakedown test, basically. All the teams seem to be happy. Williams, of course, were not there. Which was, what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to do here. What a terribly drawn, what a badly drawn car that is. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so Williams were not at the test at all. They had to make the decision. They said that, yes, they could have gone to the test. They could have made it to the test. But that would have, been a rush. And it would have potentially done more damage than good. So they decided to miss it. I bet they're regretting it. I wouldn't be surprised if they are. It's a bit difficult not to when you're watching, or you're not watching, but you know that the cars are pounding around the track. Morning and afternoon, 5 days. Although they're only allowed to do 3 days. Each team was only allowed to do 3 of the 5 days. But so that's soul destroying for Williams. I remember they missed, how long ago was that now? 6 years ago or something. They didn't turn up to the first day. Was it the first day of the Bahrain test? I remember Claire Williams being distraught about that, but the team just couldn't get there. That was not long before they sold it, I think. And here we go again. They've not made it again. That's terrible. Aston Martin only just made it. They only did about 65 laps in total, 66. The Adrian Newey Aston Martin. Now that nose is slightly different. It has slightly different design at the front for airflow. It's got a bit of a nose like a sort of platypus. Sort of a little bit spread out at the end, sort of like a little bit of a spoon shape almost, it looks at the end. Still looks gorgeous though. The noses on all the cars look really, really nice, I have to say. So who looked like the best team? It's so difficult to tell, isn't it? I really, really, really want Hamilton to do well this year. I really, really, really do. And 442 laps for Ferrari. That's very good. Some wet weather testing as well. But there's not really much to choose for them. I mean, the general consensus seems to be that Mercedes look best. But how can you tell when we're told to ignore the times and not ignore the number of laps completed, but you can't say that Aston Martin are in a terrible position because they've only done 65, because they only turned up on day 4, in the afternoon of day 4. So, are Mercedes a lot better than Ferrari because they did 500 laps and Ferrari did 442? And the consensus is that McLaren are in a better position than Ferrari, slightly. And yet they did almost half the number of laps of Ferrari. So does that mean number of laps is not important? I don't know. I think it's very close between those top 4 teams. I don't think you can pick who's out front, basically, at the moment. I think it's very close between them all. I think there's nothing to choose between them, basically. Yeah, I think I'll end the video now because you can probably tell I've got a bit of a cold as well. I just wanted to mention what I thought about the shakedown test, basically. I don't think there's anything much else to say. So I just think it's been very, very positive for all of the teams apart from Williams. Aston Martin, I suppose it's not been tremendously positive for them. Everyone seems to think it's not a problem because you've got Adrian Newey, so it's not a problem if they've only done 66 laps. But is that going to be a problem? Possibly. Possibly that is going to be a problem. But anyway, terrible for Williams. But all the others, certainly 9 of the 11 teams, including Cadillac and Audi, are in a good position. Cadillac, completely new team, but using the Ferrari engine. Audi, not a new team because they are the Sauber team, but they are using a new engine, Audi's own engine. So Cadillac and Audi have sort of got that the opposite way around. One is a new team with an established engine, and the other one is an established team with a new engine. So anyway, there you go. I will end this little chat now, I think. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Apologies for the video maybe appearing to be a little less. What's the word? Or maybe, well, just saying there's not much to the video. But I just wanted to squeeze this out in this tiny window that I had, so it's not supposed to be, a particularly good quality video. I'm just squeezing it out, basically. So, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. I shall do videos on the Bahrain tests as well, and obviously I'll have a lot more footage to look at for those ones. And although only the second Bahrain test is completely live, I have a problem every year where I try to watch about 35 hours of testing coverage, and I always fall behind. It's desperate. But this time it's only the second 3-day test that is fully live. The first one has live coverage of the last hour of the day each day. But then, of course, you have also the chit-chat sessions afterwards, reviewing the day as well. Anyway, so I shall be covering those before the F1 season starts, and I'll be releasing other videos as well, of course. So if you want to subscribe, please do. And thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I shall see you on the very next video, whatever it may be about. Thank you very much, and goodbye for now.